Hello investigators and welcome to Until the End of Time. I really hope I set everything up right because I reset some of my computer settings the other day and I have no idea if it all still works. But hopefully you can hear me and see my tabletop game and see that we are trying two new investigators. So if you missed it, I put out a video just the other day talking about all the new cards previewed from Hemlock Vale, the announced new investigation expansion for Arkham Horror. And I spent about an hour talking about a whole bunch of cards, and I figured there's probably a lot of cards that I didn't get to go into a lot of depth into, a lot of nuance into, simply because that video was already quite long, and it is very hard to talk about an investigator if you haven't played them yet. And so that's what this video is going to be. I'm going to be trying out Kate Winthrop and Hank Samson, and seeing if I can, make some sense out of them. So, for those of you who missed that video or just need a quick refresher, Kate is the scientist. She starts the game with the Flux Stabilizer in play, and she has an ability that lets her move clues from her to science or tool assets you control with no clues on them. When those assets leave the game, you put a clue on you drop those clues on your location, and you can Elder Sign effect to move those clues back. Now, when you start doing this, you can start getting unexpected courages, and in general this is a mechanic that we haven't seen before, but I think is pretty straightforward as far as clue manipulation in Seeker is concerned. So we also have her weakness, Failed Experiment, which is a willpower test. We take horror or have to drop clues, but it gets extra difficulty based on the amount of clues we have on assets. And then her signature asset also comes with these two etheric currents. These let us reset the clues that are on our assets and then either fight or evade an enemy. If you want to get a little bit more depth on these cards, go watch the other video. If they come up, I'm gonna talk about them in this stream. But I'm really just trying to get through this as quickly as possible so we can start playing. I did also grab two other cards, and I know that the images are probably not the best quality. The problem is that FFG has only uploaded them in article, and there the quality isn't great. I expect there's a way to sharpen these up, but I genuinely don't know it, so sorry, this is the best I can do. So the chemistry set is an accessory slotted item, 2-cost asset that we can exhaust to investigate, and depending on exactly how much we succeed, we might get specific effects. I have no way in my deck to guarantee any of these effects, but because this is a tool and science trait, I figure I'd try it out. Worst case, it's an intellect icon. And then we have the microscope. This is one of the cards that the deck is kind of built around. The idea here is that when we evade an enemy or defeat them, we can exhaust the microscope to put our evidence on it. And then we can investigate to spend that evidence to discover additional clues. Now, Kate starts with 4 agility. We have a couple of other ways in this deck to get additional agility. And that way, I'm kind of hoping that we can evade some enemies and get some evidence on microscope. So yeah, this is going in. I'll post Kate's deck list in the chat, actually. I probably could do that. I'll put the Hank deck in there as well. So while Arkham DB is loading, it's probably a little slow because I'm, of course, live streaming as well. So Hank Samson is the farmhand. He starts out as a I'd say pretty normal investigator. He can tank hits for other investigators at his location or allies. He's got 3-1-5-3, which is actually a pretty decent stat line. But he has this special ability that when he would be defeated by damage or horror, he heals all of his damage and horror and then swaps to this resolute version, which, depending on which side you take, is either a 3-3-4-4 with you cannot be healed, you can still tank, and then when you take horror, you draw a card, or a 4-1-6-3, so you get a 6 base combat, cannot be healed, when you take damage, you get resources. I've built this deck to be a fighter, really, to protect Kate, and to just be kind of the standard Seeker fighter combo. We've got a signature Stout-Hearted that lets us move damage and horror off of us onto enemies as damage. We have Wear Spa. Oh, that's important. I'm just going to use the Elusive keyword as it moves away if possible. I don't know what Elusive does yet. We don't know. We're going to find out eventually. And then we got a Pitchfork. Pitchfork is a new weapon that deals +2 damage. If it's successful, you have to attach to your location and you have to pick it up again. There's also Long Shot, which is a sort of new vicious blow. We can use it to deal damage on a successful fight or evasion at your location or a connecting location. And Push to the Limit lets us get an extra use out of our weapon or tool assets in the discard pile, but then we have to shuffle the chosen asset back into our deck. Again, not gonna stick on those cards too long. I'm gonna just, start playing, and we'll see. If any questions come up, please post them in chat. I'm also just gonna post the deck list there, since Arkham DB has hopefully loaded. Dumpling in the chat is saying the Warden side of Hank seems to have so much potential than the Assassin. I assume you mean more potential. So I think what you're saying is not incorrect. Like, I think if you're playing Hank as a fighter, you probably want the Warden side most of the time, just because 6 combat, 4 willpower is also nothing to sneeze at. That's a big deal for like a defensive stat. But I think the thing to remember is, if you're playing solo, or if you want to be a bit more flexible, combined with things like lucky access, infaction, and stuff like that, I think this side can be very good as a solo investigator, which is a bit of an unusual approach, but I think it could work. In general, I think of Hank a little bit like I think of Calvin, because Calvin also has a kind of weaker stat line at the start of the game, but then gets much more powerful late game. Alright, I've posted links in the chat if you want to watch those. And let's get started. And I decided for this for the two of these, I'm going to start with Pit of Despair. I'm pretty sure last time I played Pit of Despair on this stream, I drowned. So let's see if they'll do better than that. So yeah, the duo of them is going to go into the Pit of Despair. I should turn off hands. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so let's get started. Unless there's more questions in chat, but looks like we're all good. Alright, so we actually here see one of the cards that I kind of put in specifically for this style of deck. So this is the dissection tools. These are from Scarlet Keys. And after an enemy at your location is defeated, you get a evidence on this. And as long as there's at least one evidence on this, you get +1 agility. That's the main thing we're caring about here. It is also a tool on Science Traded, which is nice with Kate's ability. But I wanted an asset that gives me additional agility. And so that's why I decided to go this way. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you should just be running Hawkeye cameras, because I believe you can put it on a Science or tool asset. So I believe the Hawkeye folding camera is not Science, but it is tool traded. So maybe you just want the intellect boost. But I was very curious to see if an evasion-based strategy with Kate is going to be good. Maybe that's overkill if we already have Hank, but, let's find out. I like having dissection tools and the microscope in our opening hand. That's really going to help us set up. We also have the chemistry set. I think we just mulligan if I've got a plan and kind of hope for some economy, because the one thing... No, that's not economy. The one thing I'm kind of worried about is that this is a lot of assets that we're going to have to play. Note that Demon Hunting Serum is Science Traded, so it does work with Gate's ability. And then for Hank, we have Long Shot, Perseverance. So I did actually put a couple of these effects into the deck that when you would be defeated, you don't. You can cancel some of damage and horror, because I do suspect that, when you get toward the end of the scenario, Hank might be in danger. I see a lot of people in the chat very excited for... Or actually, sorry, no, it's the same person. It's one person who's really excited for Chemistry Set. I'm going to play it for you. Like, let's be honest. I don't think it's actually that good early on, but I'm interested to see it in action. All right, I think we're going to mulligan on Hank's side. I think LeBron's is good in our opening hand. Tool Belt. So it's worth saying the weapons for this deck are Sledgehammer and the new Pitchfork, which are both tools. So you can stick them in the Tool Belt. And depending on exactly how much damage you need to do, how many actions you have, you can kind of switch out your weapons, which seemed like a neat trick. And it also helps kind of avoid the drawback of pitchforks a little bit. So, yeah. So the Croydon Ball in the chat is pointing out that it is very possible to just discard the chemistry set the first time you investigate if you fail by exactly 2. I guess there's a way to avoid that, right? You just have to not fail by 2 on the first investigate. It's fine. All right, so Pit of Despair. For those of you who are not familiar, if we start our turn in a fully flooded location and we don't get to a unflooded or partially flooded location during our turn, we're gonna drown. Basically, take 5 direct damage. We don't want that. and we start out just having to get 6 clues. We begin in the unfamiliar chamber, which is a 3-shroud location with 2 clues, and we have a key on there. Alright, well, let's get started. Well, if the crowd really wants it, let's play the chemistry set. And let's play... I think I am gonna play this microscope as well. Just to be... in case we draw an enemy, like turn 1, or rather in the next middle phase, this is already out. We can start getting evidence as soon as possible. And we're going to exhaust chemistry set and try to investigate. So we are testing 4 against 3. That's not amazing, but we don't have any commits. 4 against 3. We fail, but we fail by exactly 4. Or sorry, we fail by exactly 3, so it is not discarded. Don't worry, we're fine. Oh, also, I need to lose 1 more resource. Yep. Alright, over on Hank's side, we're definitely going to play LeBranche. We're definitely going to play this Sledgehammer. We're going to exhaust LeBranche for a resource. And I think we just draw a card here. Yeah, that's fine. I think like there's an idea that you can use Hank to kind of scout these tunnels, but I think you kind of want to start sticking to, like, you want to stick together at the start just to be safe. Well, there's the other chemistry set, in case we have to discard the first one. Doomon, encounter cards. Rising Tides, increase the flood level here. That's not bad yet, but the next time we draw one of those, it's going to get real nasty real soon. And a Young Deep one. Okay, I'm very glad I put a weapon out early. The Young Deep one, 3/3/3, Hunter. After it engages you, take a horror. So we're immediately taking horror in Hank. That's fine, we can deal with this. We have a Sledgehammer, and I think we're just going to double action Sledgehammer. So that is fighting at a 7 versus 3 and plus 2 damage. -4, that hits. Goodbye. And we get a evidence on microscope. Wow, that text is barely legible. If you need to know what this card does, just go to the FFG page. Sorry, I can't, like, I wish I had a sharper image. I actually tried making it, like, better, but I wasn't able to in the time I had today. Maybe if somebody can show me how to do it, I'll do it for next time. Okay, so I'll play the tool belt, get a resource with LeBron. That's Hank's turn. Back over to Kate. So we need intellect boosts in order to investigate. But we can get intellect boosts when we have clues. This is a problem. Let's see if we can find something in one of these caves. Let's move here. 2 shrouds. It is fully flooded, but it's a little easier to investigate. So this one's a little trickier because I think it was correctly pointed out that, you know, if you fill by exactly 2, you discard the chemistry set. If you're investigating at a 3 shroud location, that's a little harder. If you investigate the 2 shroud location, it's easier to succeed. But if you draw, in this case, a -4, but also if you draw an autofill, you're now failing by exactly 2. So that makes I think this card a little bit more interesting. I'm going to investigate here, committing. I think I'm going to commit the other chemistry set. So I am testing at 5 versus 2, and I am using the chemistry kit. Game does not like me. Oh wait, no, it's fine. -3. I succeed by exactly 0. I gain 2 resources. Hey, that's actually really good. Okay, I like that. Oh, sorry, this is on the wrong side. Yeah. I'm going to play the Dream Enhancing Serum. I'm going to move this clue to the microscope. No, sorry, I'm going to move this clue to the flux capacitor. Flux stabilizer. That's how we have to do this. So, free trigger on Kate, move a clue from her to a science or tool asset you control with no clues on it. And then this is a forced effect. After a clue is placed on the flux stabilizer, search your bonded cards or discard pile for 1 copy of etheric current and shuffle it into your deck. Flip the flux stabilizer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get the evasion one, which shuffles enemies back into the deck because I like that. And then this gets shuffled, and now when you place a clue on asset you control, you get +2 skill value on your next test. Alright, we're just going to investigate one more time. Come on, Elder Sign. You may move a clue from an asset you control back to Kate Winthrop. Don't mind if I do. Because now I can activate my ability again. Alright, let's go to upkeep. That went better than I expected, if I'm honest. Alright, perception and a second push to the limit. We don't have any assets in our discard pile yet, so not doing too much yet. Doom on, counter cards, it's a swarm of rats. That's not great, but, you know, so be it. Dreams of Rillier. Put it in the play in your threat area, get -1 willpower, -1 sanity, test willpower 3, succeed, discard it. Alright. Maybe we won't. So the annoying thing here is that we could try to evade the rats, but why? Right? It's they're rats. They're not really. We don't really care. Sorry, rats. Also, we should probably leave this location because we are gonna drown otherwise. So Hank is gonna walk over to Rat City. He's going to punch some rats with his bare hands. And succeed. Defeat it. Put evidence on the microscope. And I think he can actually just stay here. Because kind of the game plan is that he might be able to use this move action next turn to go somewhere else. Keep in mind, this is important. If you've played Instrument before, you probably know this, but the way that this works is if you start your turn at a fully float location, then this force effect triggered. So it's fine if you end your turn at a fully float location, as long as you aren't there by the end of the next turn. So Hank walking in here, it's fine. He's gonna be okay. Our boy's gonna be okay. I kind of want to try to clear this, but I don't have the way to do it. So I'm just going to draw a card and hope that helps. Ah, it's a pitchfork. Well, that'll help. Alright, so Kate is now struggling for breath, but that's fine. She can just walk out, hit the bricks, if you will. I definitely need to get this dissection tool down, because I've already had 2 enemies defeated at my location and not get any evidence on them, so definitely want that. I'm going to investigate here. Difficulty 3. And we're investigating with the chemistry set, which doesn't give an intellect bonus. So let's do 6v3. And honestly, I'm kind of thinking that if we succeed by exactly 4, we can get an additional clue. So I'm going to put one of my clues back on the flux stabilizer. And when you place a clue on it, you get +2 skill value. So now we're testing at 8v3. Elder Sign. That is not succeeding by exactly 4, that is succeeding by exactly 5. Oof, this did nothing. But we do get to move a clue, which I guess one of the things that's worth pointing out here is that you can still spend the clues that are on your asset. The developers have already confirmed that those are still clues you control. So it's not doing that much right now. Okay, we got Strange Solution. That's also a science asset, so I figured I'd throw it in there even if I'm not convinced it's necessarily what this deck wants to do. I think last action I'm just going to investigate again, putting a clue on, I guess, the Dream Serum. -3. See, now we succeed by exactly 0. That would have been nice, but, you know. Here we are. And we got the yellow key. Alright, upkeep. Eureka. Yay, science! And Cherish Keepsake. So, what is probably quite obvious, but I feel, I should mention anyway, I put quite a couple of soaks in Hank. The idea basically being we can try to, avoid putting too much damage on them early, so we can kind of build up Hank's health and sanity, or rather, we put damage on him, and then we can flip him, and then we have some extra soaks to carry him to the next part of the scenario. Doom on. Macabre Memento. Sorry, that's just I know it's not pronounced like that, but I have fun with it. If you feel take 2 horror, I think I'm just taking this 2 horror. Because I can try to test around it, but I don't feel that's worth it. So I'm just gonna take the 2. And a Lurking Deep one. After it engages you, take a damage. Alright. So we definitely want to try to kill this at the location with Gate. And we're not really worried about taking the attack of opportunity. Um, yeah, so it's worth pointing out, obviously, we could try to take 5 direct damage to try to flip Hank immediately. I don't think that's necessarily what we want to do. I think that's maybe a little risky, but yeah, if we have to, like, show it off. Let's move over here. It's the Bone-Ridden Pit. For each key controlled by an Investigator Bone-Ridden Pit, you get -1 shroud. If we control a yellow key... Oh, interesting. So we might be able to do this flashpoint back super early. If we're able to get the clues here, which we might, because we do have the microscope. So the way that the microscope works is it's a double action to investigate, which actually I think is kind of interesting, because it makes it a lot less of a clue compression card and much more of a tool you have to kind of build around. But in this specific instance, I think we are going to do this. So we're going to spend 2 actions to investigate, and note that we're not spending any of the evidence that we've collected so far right now. We get +2 because we have 2 evidence on there. So we're currently investigating at a 6 versus 5, which is not great. So let's make that a 7 on 5. Let's make that a 7 on 5, 9 on 5. I can do math. -3, so we succeed. And now we may spend up to 2 evidence to discover that many additional clues. So we're just going to spend 1 evidence to get 2 clues here. And of course we get the Eureka. That was really good. I really like that. Alright, our 2 cards are Burning the Midnight Oil or Medical Students. Worth saying, Medical Student is science traded. And since we don't have a lot of money, but we kind of have our setup done, so I'm kind of okay with being like this. So we could do this flashback right now. I think we're fine without. The one thing that I noticed is that this is not a flooded cave, so we can't travel straight there with the quick travel. But I think we're still fine to entertain this lurking deep one for a little bit. So I think Hank is going to go take an attack of opportunity to play some track shoes. And then move, which is going to provoke an attack of opportunity again. And we're going to track shoe. And we're going to discard the pitchforks for +1. Oh, what's the coldest in this scenario again? It's a -2. We succeed. Excellent. So we will move into the location with Kate. And here we will deliver swift justice onto the enemy with the aid of our sledgehammer. Yeah, let's just sledgehammer him. 4 on 2. Yeah, where's the Etheric Current? It shuffles into the deck. Yeah, it does not immediately go to hand. -3. Oh, that's awkward. Alright, we miss because unfortunately the sledgehammer gets -1 combat. Should have committed something, I guess. But, you know, so is it. Well, in that case, enemy phase, we take another hit. Turns out it's pretty easy to get your health and sanity, get a lot of damage and horror if you really want to. Fortunately, we have this healing over here. Alright. We have Bonk. Or Thud in this case, I believe. We also have the... No, we don't have the... Wait, we don't have the clues? Oh, we do have the clues to advance, but 2 of them are on assets rather than somewhere else. Fractured Consciousness. If you fail, take 2 damage. I'd rather not take the 2 damage. I'm going to spend the clue over to the chemistry. Yeah, somebody's already chanting for a Hank flip. I would like to, but I would like to not do it right now. I would like to wait a little bit longer. There's a fractured consciousness here as well. Well, we're not testing out of that one. So, yeah. Oh. Wait, I'm sorry. Did I forget to LeBron last round? I'm pretty sure I was at 0 resources because I played track shoes, so I should have LeBron for an extra resource. Because me being at 2 resources is actually kind of important here. Because I'm going to fill this test. And I'm going to... So I would take 2 damage, which would actually defeat me. So I have the option of triggering Hank's ability, but instead I'm going to play Perseverance. sorry for everybody in the chat who wants me to flip Hank right now. We're instead preventing that 2 damage as a very, very expensive deny existence. But, you know, it's probably fine. Alright, let's... I'm gonna swing the sledgehammer again. Hope it hits this time. I'm gonna swing the sledgehammer again. Hope it hits this time. I'm going to swing this sledgehammer again and hope it hits this time. There you go. It's all in the intonation. And I'm gonna get a resource from LeBranch. Wow, that was a turn. Over on Kate's side. So I think I'm going to place a... Well, first I'm going to play Medical Student. And I'm going to heal damage and horror off Hank. Because he got a little bit more beat up than I planned. I'm going to move a clue over onto the Medical Student. So that I get +2 skill value on my next test this phase. Then I think I'm going to do that again. So now I get... Oh, sorry, I also forgot 2 triggers. There should be an evidence here and an evidence here because we just killed an enemy there. So this is exhausted and this doesn't exhaust. Okay. So we placed 2 of our clues. Let's just place all 3 of our clues. So that is a +6 on our next test because there's notably no limit on this or limit on this other than the number of clues and the number of assets with clues on them we have. So we get a +6 and we're just going to try to clear this Dreams of Verlier. There we go. And now I'm going to advance. Am I going to advance right now? No, that is a terrible idea because advancing here spawns an enemy and I don't want to just get jumped. So yeah, we'll just draw a card. That's fine. All right, upkeep. It's a swarm of rats. It's everybody's favorite. It's the Deep One Bull. Deep One linebacker. I believe when you engage as him, you have to discard a card from your hand. That's actually fine. I don't think I need 2 of these. So I'll discard 1 of those. Alright. I think definitely letting Hank go first here. Let's play Push to the Limit. So this does not provoke a tax opportunity. Choose a weapon or tool asset in your discard pile. Resolve an action ability on that asset, ignoring all costs. After this effect resolve, shuffle the chosen asset into your deck. So I just discarded that pitchfork. So I'm going to attack with the pitchfork against the Deep One Bull. I'm going to commit Stunning Blow, and I'm also going to commit a Resourceful just to help me stat boost a little bit. So the pitchfork, normally the idea is that when you attack with the pitchfork, you have to attach to your location, you have to pick it back up. But in this case, we just get to fight with it once. +1 damage, +2 damage, +1 fight, and potentially studded. So we are looking at 5, 6, 7, 8 versus 4. Okay. So that was the stream. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll be all right. Oh, it's gonna be one of those days, huh? All right, let's get a research with LeBranch. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, in that case, I think we're going over to Plan B, and Plan B involves evading and moving. Yeah, thank you. The autofills are not Hank's friends today. I'm gonna try to evade the Deep One Bull. He's fortunately only got to evade. We were at 5 here, so minus grid location is unflooded. So let's just get a -1. So that's successful. I believe that does trigger the microscope. So we get a resource on the microscope. And then let's just leave. Let's just hit the bricks. We don't want to be here. I'll test Trek Shoes. Hey! Right, this Elder Sign is just a +1. Oh, it's a tidal pool. There's a key here, and then it gets tougher if it's flooded. So someone in the chat asked whether I should use I Got a Plan, and I actually thought about that in my head. I should maybe say that out loud. I want to, but at the moment I'm not entirely sure if clues on assets I control count as clues that I have for the purpose of I've Got a Plan. I know I'm allowed to spend them for the agenda or the active funds, which is what I'm about to do, but I don't know if it's actually something that I am considered to control, if those count, and if they don't, then I've Got a Plan will only do 1 damage. Now, drawing that Deep One Pool has kind of made this location a little bit trickier. I don't know if I have the luxury of advancing here. Maybe I have to circle back around. The one nice thing is I do have the agility to evade this swarm of rats. So I'm going to do that. Yeah, and to be clear, it's not that I'm necessarily saying you can't do it. It's just that I'm saying, like, I'm not 100% sure, and also I don't think that me killing the Deep One Pool is actually the correct play here. Like, I'm kind of leaning towards evasion and moving away anyway, just because of the way the scenario tends to play out. I'm actually just going to try to attack this rats. I do wish I had kept 1 clue in reserve. But yeah, I'm going to commit this strange solution, and I'm just going to try to punch the swarm of rats. And fail, of course. Game plus. I'm going to just try to punch again. There's enough -1s in this back, right? Apparently, there is not. I'm going to move. Which does provoke an attack opportunity. But it do be like that sometimes. Alright, enemy phase. Upkeep. And now remember why Innsmouth's opening is considered so brutal. Lurking Deep One. Dreams of Royal, yay! Oh, we're getting beat up. Alright, enough farting around. Let's advance. Let's see how bad it gets. I mean, one of the tricks here is if we can get the flashback here, we can get one of the special tokens out, which is the thing that's hurting me the most right now, I think. So the Amalgam enemy, let's have Kate engage with 3 enemies, because that seems like something we really want to have happen. We get the Blind Sense and From the Depths encounter sets. Which is curious, by the way, that that's 2 different encounter sets. When I just think about it, I'm pretty sure those don't come back anywhere else in the campaign. Somebody please correct me if that's wrong, but I'm pretty sure you don't use those encounter sets anywhere else, so why is it 2 different sets? Anyway, we put in new locations, and now the game truly begins. Oh, and Kate loses her key. We're gonna have to get that back. Alright. Well, let's walk over here. And if we kill any of these, we're gonna have to contend with the Deep One linebacker. But I think at this point that's kind of what we're in the business of. So I'm gonna double action the sledgehammer and try to unmake the Amalgam. I think, is that correct? Hold on. Because the trick here is also, alternatively, I could kill the Lurking Deep One, which gives us 1 fewer enemy. Like, I can probably kill the Swarm of Rats, no problem. And kill the Lurking Deep One. It also means that there's an extra evidence on dissection tools. It means that, like, because I think Kate with 5 agility is already kind of in a good position to evade the Amalgam anyway. You don't necessarily want to kill it. But this stupid thing has 5 agility, so that's a problem. Yeah, let's kill the rats first. So, second action, just straight up punch the rats. -2. Okay. Rats are dead. Evidence on dissection tools. Evidence on microscope. And so my hope is actually to use the microscope to open the 2... there's the 2 force route locations, the underground rivers. If we can have that with the deduction, we can one action clear a 4 per invest, or well, double action, I guess. It is a double action to investigate, but we can very easily and very safely clear those locations. All right, and now I have to consider whether or not I want to risk attacking the lurking deep one while it's engaged with Kate. I think the answer is yes. So 4 against 2 with the sledgehammer. +1. Alright, that kills the lurking deep one. Another evidence on the dissection tools, but that also procs the deep one bull. It moves it here, and then we have to discard a card. Alright, over to Kate. Let's evade the amalgam. Committing this Eureka. -3. We succeed by 1, which is not enough to get our key off of the amalgam, but it does mean we don't have to take the attack. So that's nice, I guess. Oh! That's also science traded. Let's drop down the empirical hypothesis. And do we just run very, very far away? Because the trick here is that actually the two of them should probably stick together, more or less. So no, I do not run very far away. Instead, I just draw another card. Alright. Oh, that actually triggers Dream Enhancing Serum. Very nice. Alright, enemy phase. Hank gonna take 2 damage. X is in fact going to give it to you. And then upkeep. I'll have the amalgam engage Kate again, because we're gonna try that evasion trick one more time. And hey, lucky, that would have been nice, 4 times or so in this scenario. Alright, the agenda advances, increase the flood level of every revealed location, and for the rest of the game, when a location is revealed, we increase its flood level. Now that does mean that the location we're at is actually now fully flooded, so we gotta get out of here. And quickly. And then we advance to the next act, or next agenda, which is the same. And it is a young deep one, so I can take the horror on Kate, but actually I believe that while at this location I can assign this horror to Hank, and since Hank is looking like he's gonna get defeated pretty shortly here, I'm actually gonna put the horror on Hank and try to get a full heal out of it. From the depths, if the amalgam is in the depths, put into play, otherwise place amalgam in the depths, and from the depths gains surge. That's annoying, because that's our yellow key gone. But it does also mean 1 fewer enemy. Oh, never mind. Okay. Chat, do we flip him? I think we flip him. I think it's flipping time. Time to flip out. I think it's the main thing. Alright, so we take a damage. We could put that damage on LaBranche, but I think we haven't gotten the best out of the old lady yet. So when you would be defeated by damage and or horror, heal all of your damage and horror and swap this card with its bonded resolute version, either side face up. It's time for Hank flip. So we can either become the assistant or we can become the warden. And I think I'm going to go #warden. So we have a willpower of 4 and a combat of 6 now. Agility stays the same. We have 6 health, 4 sanity, and we can no longer be healed. But fortunately, we still have some cancels in our deck. We may be assigned damage and horror dealt to ally assets or other investigators at our location. And when we gain damage, we gain 2 resources, and we can move damage to an asset we control when we draw our Elder Sign now. Alright. Everybody in chat's super excited about Hank flipping. Alright. I think we just need to start, solving this issue, which is to say we need to remove as many enemies off the board as feasible in this short amount of time as possible. And so I'm going to start by just sledgehammering, doing the -1 sledgehammer on the lurking deep one. Because we now have 6 combat, this should be a little bit easier. There we go. This effect doesn't really trigger. And then I think I'm just going to double action and clear out this other young deep one, because spending one turn to just kill 3 enemies or 2 enemies seems like a worthwhile way to spend my turn. There we go. Hammer gets indeed swung around, and there are more resources on these dissection tools, And on this... Yep. Alright, that's a good way to spend the turn, I think. Yeah, I'm worried about the dreams of relay, but don't worry. Oh, actually, sorry. I just realized that I probably shouldn't do that because Hank is drowning. And if I do that, then Hank dies. Or, well, he doesn't technically die. He goes to 5 out of 6 damage, but I don't think we want that to happen. Hilariously, if we hadn't done that, if we put the damage on LeBranch, I guess we wouldn't have been fine. But, yeah, sorry. We're going to have to roll that back. Sorry for everybody who was super excited to see Hank just absolutely destroy some enemies. Don't worry, I'm sure he will be doing so more during the course of this campaign. But we gotta evade this deep one first. There we go. And beat feet. Let's head down here. Alright, Kate, no clues, so I've got a plan is pretty empty. Oh, for empirical hypothesis, I'm gonna say succeed by 3? I'm actually going to say fail by 2 or more. I think I'm going to start with that failure, because I think, yeah, the deck is just not consistent enough to be reliable, but drawing a card when we fail might be nice. I'm going to try to evade. Well. Time to run. Time to run. Time to investigate with chemistry sets. So, we're going to commit perception. Don't think I want to commit to Lapith here. Fortunately, we did not fail by exactly 2. And we do get a clue on empirical hypothesis, or an evidence rather. But that wasn't great. Alright, upkeep. These 2 ready. Yeah, I think, sorry, reacting to somebody in the chat, somebody saying, like, he wasn't that interested in Hank until seeing him play. I for starters, that's why I'm doing this, right? Like, I can talk about these investigators in abstract for hours and hours and hours, but truth is, you need to play them in order to really find out. And I compare Hank a lot to Calvin in my head, because I feel they have a similar sense of, you start out early with kind of a weaker stat line, and then you build up, but compared to Hank, it's a bit more, or compared to Calvin, it's a bit more direct, right? It's a bit more all or nothing. Right, do we want this to happen? Because how hard does the amalgam actually hit for? It hits for 1 and 1, which we could put the damage on Hank to get Hank to gain 2 resources, but Hank doesn't need resource right now, and we don't want him to die. But also we have this medical assistant who can just soak a hit. So, yeah, it's fine. We'll just take the test. Cultist, -2. We pass. Young Deep One. Engages you, take a horror. That's starting to look real scary. Fortunately, we do have this keepsake, so we need to get the keepsake out real soon. This other Young Deep One at least is going to prey on Kate first, so she can hopefully do something with that. Alright, let's Hank Smash. Double action on the sledgehammer. There we go. I should point out, actually, I'm technically at willpower 3 because Dreams Over Relay is reducing my willpower by 1. Speaking of which, I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in this Talisman of Protection. I'm actually just going to try to clear this because I have this Lucky in hand. So testing 2v2 seems good. Or 3v3 rather. Rather than playing the Keepsake. Well. I mean, I'm not about to sit here and say that that therefore was the correct option, but that seemed to have worked out pretty well. Alright. Kate, you got one more shot at this whole chemistry set thing. But you better... Actually, no, I'm gonna... Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna double action. And let's use the microscope for this. So this is a -2, thanks to the partial flooding of this location, but it also gets +1 shroud. So 4 shrouds, -2, so I have to be at a 6, but fortunately the microscope gives +3, because I have at least 3 evidence on here. So I'm going to spend one of this evidence to discover 2 clues. So it is 2 actions for 2 clues, which is like not the best, but it is also 1 test, which means you're I think in higher difficulties, you're more likely to be okay with that, just on the basis of like not having to pull as many chaos tokens. Let's pull this key. And let's just draw the card with Hypothesis now. Hey! Alright, failed experiments. Gets +1 difficulty for each asset you control with a clue on it. Fortunately, that number is currently 0. And then we either have to drop our clues or take horror. Now, the funny thing here is that we actually don't really care about these clues that much because we just got the key. But also, we do care about these clues because they're a way for us to power up our stats. So, I'm kind of split on whether or not I want to pass this test, but the problem is I can like put my clues on my assets, but that only gives me effectively a +1, and potentially makes it much worse if I draw like an auto-fail. So I think I'm just going to take this test and hope for the best. Okay, that's a 0. We'll take... Do we take a horror here? Yeah, I think we take a horror here. We're about to take another horror, so it's getting a little scary, but that's okay. We survived. And let's face it... Oh, I just murdered a deep one, didn't I? This guy's supposed to be engaged with Hank. Chat, I'm missing some triggers. I'm gonna discard... I'm gonna discard the keepsake. I think I might need the lucky. Alright, and so enemy phase, this moves over here, take a horror, and then attack. Kill the student. We do have another one of those. Wait, do we have another one? No, we don't have another one of those. Alright, hey, we're gonna trigger Dream Analytic Serum, draw another card. Magnetic 30, that's actually not bad here. Okay. Oh, and Hank takes 2 damage, which he then also gets 2 resources. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping to kill the Deep One Bull this turn. Would be nice. Riptide. If location unflooded, otherwise test agility 3. Discard an asset you control. I'm gonna Magnetic 30 that. Yeah. That succeeds by, let's see, 5, 6, 7. -2. No, that's just barely not enough to succeed by 3. So somebody in the chat asks, if Hank has 5 trauma, does he insta-flip or is he just dead? At 5 trauma, he does just die. But on the other hand, if you have trauma on him and he flips, he heals all of his damage and horror. So trauma on him is, I think, a very interesting spot. I don't think it's... Like, I don't know how that plays out in practice, but I think it's kind of an interesting place to be. Alright, so this situation got... You know, situation's kind of dire, but I think we can get through this. I'm gonna sledgehammer the Deep One Bull. That's a hit for 3 damage. And I'm gonna try to hit the bull again with the small hit. -2, so that would fail. But of course, that's why we kept the lucky. Kill the Deep One Bull. Alright, we got 1 threat off the board. Which is arguably the biggest problem. So that's nice. And we do have exactly enough to... I've got to plan this young Deep One. We are going to have to throw in some intellect icons. I don't really know if we need more money. Like, I feel like we have everything set up. So I'm actually just going to toss all of this. Which is 3 extra icons. Oh, wait, but actually... Oh, no, but I can't spend my clues. Okay, good. Alright, so we're coping, I think is the best way to put it. Do I want to try to deal with this swarm of rats, or do I just not want to risk it? I don't think I want to risk it. I think I'm just going to move. Ah, here's the sealed exit. Sealed exit is fully flooded, but also that's where we have to go eventually. I mean, we all end up at the sealed exit eventually. Let's see. I think that I just had down here. Okay, this is the idle chamber. 4 shroud, 2 clues. After it's revealed, it gets the blue keys. If there's no clues and you have the purple key, you get a flashback. We do have the purple key, alright. So we can try to See, it's the green key, right? No, it's a blue key. Yeah, if you're taking 5 trauma, generally things are not great unless you're Calvin. Calvin can get there, but even then you're probably at the end of a campaign. Hopefully, at least. No, Scruncher supplies. Excellent, we can get some cards back. Undertow. That card sucks. Rising Tides. That's fine. We wanted to leave anyway. Alright, so Undertow. Location unflooded, but after you move, take 2 damage and 2 horror to discard it, but you have to discard a card from hand and death to pull the tides. If you succeed, discard it. Now the good news is, we actually have a card we're okay discarding, and we have a minor dexterity for the test, so we're just going to do that. Draw -2, which actually I think is enough to succeed by 3. No, it isn't. I still can't do math. But at least this is gone now. Now, I think I actually want to use the microscope again, which is actually kind of an interesting spot, and I think it's the kind of problem that I kind of expected this card would have, which is that it requires a lot out of your deck construction and especially your playstyle, where you need to be okay with double actioning a lot, which is difficult, especially when you fail. Because I'm pretty sure that doesn't make it. Dang it. Alright. So what was I saying? I'm going to investigate with chemistry sets, and I'm going to commit a lab assistant and a deduction. Alright, I succeed by exactly 0. I gain 2 resources. That was actually really good. I get the blue key, and because I have the purple key, I can get flashback 4. Which, I don't remember which flashback does which token, but I'm pretty sure there's the other thing. Flashback 4, remove the other thing. Thank goodness. This bag just got a bit more manageable. We also really want to go back to the Bone-Ridden Pit for flashback 2, but, you know, things are what they are. Let's punch this rat. This rat's proceeded to get punched. It goes where all rats go eventually. Rat heaven. I'll move here. Oh, it's the other title pool. Excellent. That's good placement for that. In that case, do I want to move to the other chamber, or do you just want to stay here? I think I'm okay staying here. I will not trigger track shoes. And I think I'm going to scrounge, but let me check what I can get. I think I'm happy just getting a resourceful back at this point. Just like a little bit of skill value boost plus the potential to get back like a stun blow or something later seems really good. Alright. Red Hell does not exist. Hey, we finally drew the Aetheric Current. That's interesting. Or actually, sorry, Red Hell does exist, but it is actually just Cat Heaven. Alright, I do not want to discard a bunch of cards from my hand, so I'm actually just going to spend, or not rather spend, I'm going to put 2 clues on assets I control to get plus 4 on this test. And this is, I think, where Kate's ability is so powerful, is there's no limit on this, right? It is the ability to just get a plus 4 out of nowhere, kind of, if you're holding on to a couple of clues, which in a lot of scenarios you can just do. So yeah, I think she's still pretty good. Well, I'm going to move, and I'm going to investigate with the microscope. -2. That succeeds. I will spend 1 of my evidence and get both of these clues. And this key, which is the red key. Alright. Now, what is Hank gonna do? Hank is gonna draw a couple of cards, I think. Long shot. Take heart. Don't draw last action. I know what his weakness is. I'm not going to draw last action. I think I'm just going to try... No, clearing dreams area is bad here. I think I'm actually okay just taking a move, like figuring out what's over here. So, yeah. Yeah, so someone in chat, David, is saying that like there's a limit based on how many assets you control. So like someone like Bob Jenkins, you're restricted to how many... Sorry, you're restricted to how many things you can do based on how many assets you control. So you're really encouraged to play a lot of assets. Microscope is kind of impressing me. It's okay. The fact that it's giving me +3 on these investigates is kind of nice, but I am only getting 1 clue per action effectively, which is not really great. I think what it's about to do is very nice though, because I'm about to move here and clear this in 2 actions, is the idea. But first we have to go to upkeep. I think the biggest problem that I'm having with this setup right now, and especially with chemistry set, is just that I don't have the skill values to get there consistently. Macabre, Mementa, Atakar. I'll just take 2 horror. Actually, I don't really want to take 2 horror at this point. I'll put a clue over here. I think I need to do more than that. I'm going to put a clue over here as well. That's a -3. I succeed that, right? Yes, I got +4 on that. Another... That's... Wait, no, we have 3 willpower. Wait, but we also only have 3 sanity. Okay. Well... I will fire off this Talisman of Protection and cancel the 2 horror, because otherwise I go insane. Ooh, this game got exciting. Alright, move. Play Lab Assistants. Draw 2 cards. Another Microscope, which we're probably committing for an icon, and Strange Solutions, which we might actually play. Hank definitely needs to clear this, but I'm going to need to... I think I'm just going to investigate, commit, take heart. Alright, autofill. It's going to pop up, that's probably the time. Draw 2, gain 2. These are not the tools to clear this. Well, we can play the Keepsake at least. That should stop us from going insane. I'm worried about drawing last action, because if I draw his weakness, I'm going to take a direct horror. So I'm going to... -3. If you fail the amalgamate in the depths, put it into play, engage with you. Dang it. Alright. On the last action, that is not what you like to see. But, okay, so this guy comes back. We don't have a key. But when its force effect doesn't trigger. But it does go enemy phase, and it just gets to attack us. I think we just kill the branch here. Because, like, for 1 damage, 1 horror, that's kind of fine. Another Scrounge, alright. Deep One Assault. Disengage from each Deep One location. Each Deep One enemy at your location, each connect location engages you. Okay, this is... I think you read the wrong token. Did I? Wasn't that another thing? Chat, did I get the wrong token? Did I drew tablet? No, I drew other thing. I drew -3. Well, I'm not going back now, but if that's true, then sorry. I guess I just messed that up. All right, I'm just gonna give it one of my keys. Oh, chat's now saying that it definitely drew tablet. Well, that one's on me, but also I'm not going back. I hope you're okay with that. That's not a card I love to see. All right, we're gonna try to make because it also changes a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep going if that's okay. Yeah, okay. So the amalgam needs to go away. Fortunately, we have a tool that says, please go away, gently, kindly. We are no longer interested in continuing this conversation. Please, please leave. Yep. Okay, so it does still get defeated. So we do get those, and I think I'm just gonna pull back Labranche. Because, you know, having those around is kind of nice. Amalgam goes to the depths. Hank is going to play Labranche just for extra soak. And then I'm going to try to test Undertow by discarding a long shot, which I expected to come up more often, but I guess it makes sense because the Sledgehammer does 3 damage hits anyway. -2. That succeeds. Alright, this is looking okay. Like, it's not going perfect, but could be going worse. Alright, so here, double action with the microscope. Oh, also, sorry, an enemy was defeated here. We should remember to put those evidences back over here. Double action on the microscope to investigate. We get +3 for this investigation, +4 with the deduction, so that is 4 over. And if we succeed, we can spend 2 evidence to get all 4 clues in one go. We do succeed, spend 2 evidence, clear out this victory point location. Very nice. I like to see that. Also, I think in that case I did actually get my hypothesis trigger. You know what? I want to get some strange solutions, because I might want to put another clue down on there. Alright, so thinking about how the map looks, we need to get back over there. So maybe we go north and then towards the underwater cavern, so we can maybe jump places. I did notice that we are about to go to Last Agenda, and at that point things get very hectic very quickly, so, you know, that's kind of one of the things I'm worried about. Like, this scenario might be, like, or not necessarily this scenario, but like this theme might be taking a little bit too long about this, because Microscope is not actually giving action compression, it is just giving, like, test compression. I guess we could lose a tool belt. We haven't used it the entire scenario. We might also just pause. We do just pause. Alright. Let's have Hank go first, because he can scout the way a little bit, and in case it turns out this is not where we want to go, we can always back down. I am going to drop a Talisman of Protection first, and then move north. There's the other underwater cavern. So I am going to trigger track shoes real quick and see what this is about. Okay, here's the fish graveyard. If there's no clues and you control a red key, did Hank end up with the red key? I think he did, yes. And notably, he's got a look what I found in hand. So who says that one intellect investigators can't investigate? Because I'm going to investigate. -2 if you fail and you control a key, take a horror. Don't love that, but sure, we'll take it. This time it was a tablet chat. I don't know where I checked. But I get to play look what I found, because Shroud's only 2 here. Grab these 2 clues. And do the flashbacky thingy. Which is... Where did I leave the campaign guides? Wait, seriously, where did the campaign guide go? Oh, over here. Remove a tablet token. Excellent. You have harmed me for too far and too long, and now you go away. Alright. We have an action left at this point. Interesting. So, looking at the board state, kind of, I think the plan is Kate is going to go here, because I think you can go straight there. Oh, she doesn't have the yellow key anymore. Interesting. I think in that case, importantly, one of these 2 locations is the other 2 underground river, which matters because those are the only locations that stay safe once the agenda flips again. So I'm kind of feeling like I move Hank back down here. That does mean he's going to be grasping for breath next turn, but he's probably going to be okay. And if not, well, you had a good run, right? Like, it's we're running out of time. We gotta find answers and run. Move, trigger the ability here. Remove a cultist token from the bag, and yeah, trauma just makes Hank bigger faster. Like it's you know. Okay, if we control the blue key or 3 or more keys, we may spend 4 clues as a group to take control of the green key. Excellent. And now one of the things that I think is actually kind of important is you can choose to spend the clues off of your assets to reset them for extra skill boosts. Okay, so upkeep. Stormer Detective. Interesting. So now we can't really reset. Oh, actually something I realized. This force effect probably should not be allowed to be blanked. Because in this case, if an asset I control with a clue leaves play, now it would actually go back to the token pool, which is kind of bad. But we'll just, try not to have that happen. Right? Every location becomes fully flooded. And we have 4 turns before things get bad, TM. Yeah, not that one. And so this one is also going to be a tunnel. So we're actually not terrible spot. It could get very bad if we draw the bad encounter cards. You know, this is not great, for example. But, you know, we have options. Oh, well, that solves that problem, I suppose. Intellect 2, you say. Well, I'm not passing that, but taking 2 damage is kind of scary. Oh well, nothing we can do about it. Yep. Take 2 resources from Hank's ability, and then draw 2 cards and gain 2 more resources from Take Heart. All the money. Alright, so Kate's gonna go. She's struggling for air. Do I have enough actions? No, that's the kind of annoying thing, is I have to... I'm short in action. If this was fast, I'd be able to... Yeah, somebody rightly pointed out, I should probably put some kind of spend money for value effect in Hank, like even just something like Dig Deep, because we got 12 resources at the point. I mean, it happens. So the problem here is that either of them, when they start their turn, they're just going to be grasping for breath. The only solution here is to go to the tidal tunnel, or to go to this location, because it's going to be partially flooded. The problem that I have is either I have to take a bunch of hits as Kate in order to grab the key so I don't have to backtrack, or I was kind of thinking I can fire off the Aetheric Current and kind of show off how cool this is going to be, but I don't have a shortcut. So, wait, hold on. Did I draw both my shortcuts already? I did not. Okay, Chat, I need you to believe in me here. I'm going to top deck a shortcut, okay? This is just going to be a shortcut. Oh wait, there's 1 card left in my... It's literally just shortcut. We're just fine. Excellent. Well, in that case, I get to show this off, so that's cool. So yeah, I also believe, but that's because I only have 1 card left in my deck, and I didn't actually count before looking, or didn't actually look before going, and so it's just right there. So move all clues and asset you control to Kate Winthrop. For this evasion attempt, we can use either intellect or agility. I think we're okay with agility because that's higher. If we succeed and the target is non-elite, shuffle it into the encounter deck. I believe in that case, because it's an enemy or encounter deck card, it would actually go into our deck, which at this point it would just be discarded. We also draw a card and then flip the Flux Stabilizer. I'm going to commit burning them at night owl. Chat, I tried. I do draw a card, because that's not part of the success effect. So, let's see. Draw first. Take a horror. This goes here, I think? Yeah, it doesn't get put set aside again. Okay. But this is not terrible. Because we have the shortcut, the amount of damage we're taking is actually not as bad as I thought we were. So we'll take 1 damage, goodbye Lab Assistant, to get the key here. We have to spend some clues for that. We have plenty. Yeah, it is kind of rough, but also that's Arkham. She said, half ironically. Move here, and then action, take an attack opportunity, move here. And, right, this is the other victory point location. I do want to clear this. Hank struggling for breath. Teleport over here. Engage. Persuade gently to stop doing what you're doing. Thank you very much for stop doing what you're doing. When that happens, another evidence on the microscope, which doesn't actually matter, because we're about to try to clear this place. Alright, upkeep. Oh, perfect timing. Oh, right. This is still in there. So I wonder if we're going to get 1 copy of this. It seems powerful enough that I'm pretty sure 1 copy is good enough. But this is a really cool effect. It lets you like move your damage and horror off of yourself. Doomon, counter cards, Lurking Deep one. Let's put the damage on Hank, and he gets the resources. Rising Tides. No location can get their flood level increased anymore, so this has to surge. Memory of Oblivion. We do not want to fail this test. But we also can't really commit anything. Well, I guess... oh, it's choose and discard. Okay, we're just going to do Willpower. It's fine. Okay, we have to discard a card. I don't mind that too much. Let's fight the Lurking Deep one. We don't really want to extra get the engage. That's the one problem. It's like that needs to spawn over here. We're just going to fight it. We're actually just going to fight it normally, and we're just going to commit a long shot because it gives it +1 combat effectively. Yep. This guy's dead. Extra evidence on microscope. And draw a card. Oh no, here we go. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until an enemy is discarded. Attach Wear Spa to that enemy and spawn it at a connecting location if able. It's a swarm of rats. I need to ask the rats where that went. And then, so this gets the new keyword elusive. I don't know what that does, but I'm also just going to assume it's not aloof. And otherwise I'm going to assume it's going to try to keep moving away. But at the end of the round, this is going to deal a direct horror to me. However, I'm going to move, which engages the swarm of rats. And I'm going to play Stout-Hearted. Fast, play when you engage a non-elite enemy. Move up to 2 damage and horror from Hank Samson to that enemy. I actually think I'm okay keeping 1 horror on me. I'm just going to do 2 damage. So this swarm of rats immediately explodes into giblets. Goes to Red Haven. And Hank presumably found out where that is. Or he didn't, but we're okay with that because it's going to be okay, kid. It's going to be okay. Double action. Let's investigate here with the microscope. Committing deduction. Correct the case. Burn the midnight owl. Yeah, only a brave man like Hank could have stood up against those rats. Alright, that's excellent. Spending 2 evidence to get all 4 clues here. So that's another victory point. And I will say that even though it's not as good clue compression as some of the other seeker options, because, you know, it's worth saying that this was effectively 1 clue per action, which is actually, or 2 clues per action, which is very good, but that's only with a deduction, as opposed to, you know, a lot of secret decks can just do 1 clue or 2 clues per action kind of regularly or even more. The text compression on this is pretty nice, especially on a 4 intellect seeker, because I don't think I can do difficulty 4 investigates that often. It's gonna, you know, it's gonna suck, but it works out here. I'm gonna move here, and we're gonna go to upkeep. Memory of Oblivion. Oh no. I remember that I lost my plan. Uh-oh. Once more with feeling. Guess who's back? Back again. The amalgam's back, and he took the red key. Alrighty, let's see. If I move and resign... Yeah, I can just move and resign, right? So, keep in mind, they're both grasping for breath, so we're struggling for breath, so we have to get out of here now. So I'm going to go to the seal exit. I'm going to test the strange solution. And I'm going to move 1, 2... Oh wait, sorry, this is on the wrong side. First I have to place the clue here to flip this, which puts a copy of the Etheric Vortex into my deck. Etheric Current, sorry. And then move a clue here, 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 move a clue here. I'm pretty sure that gives me a +12 on this test. Wait, but I don't want to... Do I want to drop the clue in this location? Yeah, that doesn't matter. Wait, no, it does matter because the green key. Sorry, it's not going to be a minus, or it's not going to be a plus 12 for a very simple reason. If this leaves play, which is you have to discard it if you succeed, then because of the forced effect on Kate, the clue is going to get dropped in the location, but so will the green key, which Hank would then be unable to pick up and explode on under the water pressure. Okay, we succeed. We draw 2 cards. We have identified the solution, and now we're getting the heck out of here. So all these clues go back to the supply. And I think Hank is just tanky enough that he can walk over here, eat the attack from Mr. Big Meanie over here, and resign. And you could probably kill him too, but you know, I've been playing for long enough. All right, so that was a playthrough of A Pit of Despair using Hank and Kate. We got every victory point, I'm pretty sure. We got every flashback. And we got really, really, really beat up because that's what the scenario does to you. But I think, all things considered, this duo did very well. I think they struggled a little bit under action compression, like I was actually honestly kind of expecting that they would be struggling with that. I think the microscope, indeed, especially in 2-player. In 3-player, I think it might be a different case because then you're already up a clue on your double actions. But in 2-player, you really can't do that. But I think, yeah, this is a tool that is powerful, but not necessarily helping you speed up the game that much. And I think you really, if you're running cards like this, you might be running cards like Working a Hunch just to help with the tempo. I'm very glad I had my 2 shortcuts. Didn't get enough chemistry. So that's actually interesting because that's the other card that I kind of want to talk about here. I think chemistry set is better than I expected. Like I got at least 4 resources off of this, maybe 6 resources, which is pretty good. But I do think that maybe I don't want to be running it in Kate next time. I think I want to be running it in somebody who consistently investigates at 6, just because the risk of failing by 2 was too high on the investigate this whole time. And so I want to be running this on somebody who gets magnifying glasses or stuff like that down. But I definitely think that this card impressed me more than expected. For a level 0 card, I think it's doing a lot of things I like. And then over on Hank's side, yeah, the deck didn't quite go as I expected. I was expecting to be juggling my weapons a little bit more. But I think that the general idea is kind of cool. I really like the gameplay that this enables, like taking a bunch of damage horror early and then being a little bit careful at the end. One of the things that these kind of tanky soak decks have always struggled with to me is why do you want to get that much soak and like tankiness down if what you're doing is already trying to negate it to a great deal, right? And I think Hank does this very interesting where early game he wants to take a lot of hits, but then late game he wants to be a lot more measured and careful. But I really enjoyed this. I think it's a nice home for a lot of Survivor cards that I like. I think, you know, Talisman of Protection is much more of an obvious fit for him than I first realized. But yeah, that's exactly what you want on him. And yeah, I enjoyed playing this. This was fun. I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited for the other investigators we're getting. I hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe if you do. I'm hoping to do a couple more videos in the next couple of months. And thank you so much for watching. I'll be seeing you until the end of time. Bye!